Hey there, friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I'm trying something a little different this year when it comes to our homeschooling. All of the main information is going to be found in the very first video of this series, which I'll link up here in case you've missed it. But the Cliff's Notes version is that I've been homeschooling my son his entire life. He's 9 years old and on the autism spectrum. He has nonverbal autism along with a few other medical diagnoses. My son also has a complete and absolute undying love for all things Disney, much like his mama. So this year I thought it would be fun to give our unit studies a little bit of a Disney twist. So every 2 weeks this year we're going to start a new unit study based on a Disney ride, movie, character, etc. We're going to be doing our academic work around that theme, but also at least one cooking activity and at least one art activity. So in these videos, I want to show you guys some of the things that we do to fit the theme, and I have a Pinterest board pertaining to each of the themes. And so along with every single one of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description box to that particular theme's Pinterest board. So make sure that you check those out because I am only showing you some of the things that we're getting into every week, but the board is going to have more activities and also activities for kids of different ages and different abilities. So with all that being said, let's get into our theme.
In a faraway land, long ago, lived a king and his fair queen.
I watched this movie so much as a kid. Like, there's a lot of Disney movies that evoke nostalgia in me, but this opening scene is like a slice of my childhood. Disney movies teaching us all to talk to strangers since 1920 something. Look, you gotta put them in order. So here's 16. What do we do now? Look at all your pieces. Let's put them in order. That's right, 14 goes on top. See, 14, 15, 16. He was trying to do 16, 15, 14. Oh, there you go. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good work. Okay, last one. How many? 5. Awesome work. Okay. Nice. So this documentary is available on Disney Plus, and I just came across it while I was searching for the movie earlier in the week, and I thought it was, kind of interesting, so I'm going to check it out. So from what I'm gathering, it appears to be sort of a behind the scenes at Disney Animation when they were kind of transitioning into what they're calling the second phase of animation. If you're like me and you enjoy learning about behind the scenes stuff and just want to know how everything works and how everything came to be, highly recommend stuff like this. My son in particular is not super excited about it, but I'm sharing it because if you have older kiddos maybe that would appreciate this sort of behind the scenes look, it is available, like I said, on Disney Plus, and I think y'all should check it out. Much excitement does abound. So we're gonna do, I'm such a nerd, we're gonna do our Sleeping Beauty cooking activity right now. I struggled a little bit trying to figure out what can we make that will fit the theme. And then it suddenly just came to me, of course we could make the cake, the birthday cake. And it's such an iconic thing where the cake is toppling over and it's got the little broom holding it up. I am not joking when I tell you that I spent a good 45 minutes on Amazon trying to find a miniature 9-inch or 12-inch broom. Didn't work out. So we'll just pretend, we'll imagine that ours has a little broom holding it up. Now you may or may not know this about my family, but we are gluten and dairy free. And so the recipe I'm using is a gluten and dairy free recipe, but if you look on the Pinterest board, there are other recipes that don't have those accommodations, I guess for lack of a better word, so you could find one that works for your family. I also thought it might be fun to make it just a little bit different, so instead of making a bunch of little cakes that we're gonna stack up, we're actually going to make donuts. Lemon donuts to be specific. So the plan is to make a bunch of lemon gluten-free donuts. Stack them up. We also need blue frosting. I found a recipe, which again is included in the Pinterest board, just check the description box of this video, where they used blue candy melts for the frosting and it looked super cool, but candy melts are not dairy free, so we're not going to be using that. We're actually just gonna do our best to try to make a glaze out of powdered sugar and some coconut milk. I might add some blue food coloring to it, so it's not gonna look exactly like the picture because we're having to accommodate it to fit our family's needs. But this is something that I'm very excited to see everybody else's interpretations of. So if you make this recipe or any version of it, I'd love for you to tag me on Instagram at Mama Friendly, because I would really like to see how yours turn out. So without further ado, let's go bake some donuts. We're really excited for this recipe because it's all stuff that we already have, so it should be very easy to throw together. And we don't need any fancy mixers or anything. We're just gonna whisk everything together here. So we've got baking powder, vanilla, 2 eggs, sugar. We're using gluten-free flour. You could use all-purpose. Confectioner's sugar, that's gonna be for the glaze later. And I have some almond milk in the fridge that we're gonna use for that as well. We need some applesauce, baking soda, some almond flour. I get this super fine so that it has the best texture. Lemon juice, coconut oil. We're preheating our oven to 350, and I'm gonna use 2 bowls. We're gonna use one for wet and one for dry. Yeah, we're gonna put the dry stuff in the big bowl because the wet stuff's gonna end up in there afterwards. You're gonna help me? Yeah, we're gonna make these together, right? I'm so excited. So pretty much it literally says put all your dry ingredients in the large bowl. So we're going to do that. Oop, that's not a dry ingredient. I mean, it's dry right now, but we're gonna start with our gluten-free flour. And actually, I've just seen a note and it says that if your flour does not have xanthan, that you need to add a teaspoon of it. Mine doesn't, so I do need to add a teaspoon of xanthan gum. I know, this is exciting. Okay, we have our 1/4 cup measuring cup here. Yes, exactly. So we're gonna do 5 of these. Whoa, that's a lot. 1, 2, 3, not quite. We're not filling it up all the way. 4, we're gonna make this one a big one, okay? So that it's got enough. There we go. 5, get in there, flour. Okay, let's put in our teaspoon of xanthan gum. Oh, you're gonna do it? Okay, thank you. Boop. And this is xanthan gum, by the way, and we keep it on hand because we do cook gluten-free a lot, so it's just always in our pantry. You're liking this part, huh? Yeah, the dry ingredients are fun. Next, we're gonna do 3/4 cup of almond meal. So that's this stuff over here. I know, this is exciting. Okay. You're so funny. Let's take our cup. I'll measure it and you throw it, okay? Put it in the bowl, please. 1, we need 3 of these because it's 3/4 cup. 2, good work. Look, let's empty it out. 3, yes, good work. Boop, boop, boop. Now, the sugar is listed as one of the dry ingredients. Typically, sugar is a wet ingredient. So even though it's listed in there with them, I'm gonna wait and do that with the wet stuff. So next we've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. No, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. We are making such a mess. That's okay, we're having fun. So whoa, I almost threw in 1/2 tablespoon. That would have been too much. 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, hello, welcome back. Yeah, mommy did that part. So now you can help me with the next part, which is the baking powder. And we need 1 teaspoon of that. That's this one. There you go, put it in. Oh, good work, thank you. Okay, that's all of our dry ingredients. So we're gonna mix this together. Look, it's easier if you hold it up here and you could go mix, mix, mix. Yeah, mixing is not super fun for you, I know. You want me to do it? Yeah, I'll do it, that's okay. Thank you. Mix, 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 mix. Thank you for helping, that was very nice. Okay, so we've got our dries. Let's work on our wets. And my son's not gonna love this next part, so I'll probably do most of it. So first off, we need 2/3 of a cup of coconut oil melted. So I'm going to measure it out into my glass cup, and I'm gonna microwave it so that we get about as much as we need. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it at this point. Dry to wet, I guess, or solid to liquid, I should say. And we'll pour that in. And I always like to start with the coconut oil when we have to melt it for a recipe, and put like the sugar, the vanilla and whatnot, mix that all together. And then the last thing is the eggs, because since the eggs are cold from the fridge, we don't want them to make the coconut oil seize up and get lumpy. So I try to incorporate as many ingredients as I can into the coconut oil first before, oh, there's the oven, before introducing anything cold. That's about right. So let's see, whoop, get in there. Let's see how that turns out when I microwave it. Turns out I was a little short. We've only got a half cup, so I'm gonna add some more, and I'm not gonna microwave it anymore though. I'm just gonna mix it into the warm oil and it should all come together. 2/3 of a cup right there, so that's perfect. I'm gonna throw this in, boop. And I'll just keep mixing in here so that everything gets nice and liquid. And the next thing I'm gonna do is add in that sugar. So that's gonna be 3/4 of a cup of just regular sugar. I have organic cane sugar because I'm extra, but you use whatever you have on hand. Don't use the confectioner's sugar for this though, because it's a different volume. So if you use 3/4 cup of confectioner's sugar in this, it's gonna be insanely intensely sweet, and you don't want that. Hey pal, you want to help me with this part? Look, we need to put 3/4 cup of sugar. Okay, so that's 1. There you go, 2. 1 more. I know, it's exciting. There you go. 3. Good work. So next we need a teaspoon of vanilla. I usually just do a little glug like that. That's a teaspoon, right? That works. A tablespoon of lemon juice. I do usually keep bottled lemon juice on hand, but I don't have any today. So I'm going to just juice a lemon or 2. I feel like 2 is too much, but 1 is not enough. And I'm going based on nothing but just my own feeling on the matter. Actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and stir the sugar in with the coconut oil. The lemons are room temperature, but just in case. So we're going to do, let's say, 3/2 of a lemon, or of lemons, I should say. You don't get 3/2 out of a lemon. Science. Or math. That's actually probably a tablespoon. I'll stop there. I like really intense lemon flavors, so I wouldn't mind adding more, but I don't want too much juice to throw the texture off of the dough or batter that we're making, so I'm gonna stop right there. Next, we need a 1/2 cup of applesauce, and it turns out that one of these is a 1/2 cup, so there you go, pre-measured even. And I got the no sugar added, ironically, because there's so much sugar in this recipe already, but again, use whatever you'd like, as long as it's applesauce. Lastly, we've got our 2 large eggs. I just realized this has all been blurry because this bag's in the way, so sorry about that. 2 large eggs go in. Mix, mix, mix. So here's our wet ingredients, and they are ready to, it almost looks like a lemon curd, doesn't it? They are ready to go into our dry ingredients. Can you put this in here? Here, let's pour it in. Whoa, good Those are some pretty solid wet ingredients. Yeah, you wouldn't want to mix this, would you? You want to help me mix it? Yeah, I had a feeling not. That's okay. I'll mix it. And this recipe is meant to make 18 donuts, which is a lot, way more than I would have wanted to make, considering that most people in my household don't eat gluten-free, so I might end up freezing a bunch of these actually and seeing how that works out. But I tried to break the recipe down by half, and the ingredients were all in ratios that I didn't want to have to calculate. So I figured, you know what, that's fine. 18 donuts it is, and we'll just be eating donuts for a good long while, me and my son. So there is our finished batter, dough, what have you. I think that's more of a dough than a batter. It's very thick. And the recipe that I'm using actually says that you should make these in a donut maker, which is kind of like a waffle iron, but for donuts. I don't have one, so we're going to use a regular donut pan. The ingredients or the recipe says that you could do 350 for 20 minutes in a donut pan, and it should come out okay. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so here's the donut pan I'm working with. As you can see, it makes 9 large-ish donuts. I don't know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe they meant that this will make 18 tiny donut maker sized donuts, because that doesn't look like enough batter even for all of this, but we're gonna try. I'm okay with that. 9 donuts is more manageable than 18. So this is very thick, and this is kind of an odd shape. I probably could just try to pour it, but I think I want to complicate my existence a little bit and try to pipe them in. So I'm gonna put this in a Ziploc and just kind of cut the corner off and do one of these and see what happens. This is silicone, so it shouldn't stick, but I feel like just to be safe, I'm gonna throw some avocado oil spray on it, and that way we can make sure that it doesn't stick. And I've got this on a cookie sheet because since this is silicone, it's fine now, but when it comes out of the oven super hot, it's gonna be wobbly, and I'd rather have some stability, something better to hold onto and to hold onto it, so I don't risk dropping this. I'm just trying to kind of even them out up here, make them pretty-ish. And we're gonna throw these in the oven for 20 minutes. So there they are, and they look like gluten-free donuts. There's not much of a rise, but they did rise some. They're extremely hot right now, so I'm gonna let them sit and hang out for a little while before I try to take it out. I'm gonna give one a little nibble, see how I feel about the lemon flavor, and it's very likely that I'll end up making a lemon glaze to go on top of these. I waited 10 minutes and I feel like that's long enough, but obviously I'm wrong because this is falling apart. Oh no, and it's still very hot, but I'm gonna taste it all the same. That's really good. Wow. That's really good. The outside is like crunchy. Talking about my mouth full, sorry. But wow, really, really good. Good lemon flavor, very sweet. Sweeter, whoa. Sweeter than I'm used to, but I can tell that it's like a normal level of sweet. It's just sweeter than I'm used to, but not too sweet. That's delicious, actually. I think we're gonna make these more often. We really shouldn't. We shouldn't make these more often, but these are really good. I don't even think they need a glaze, but if we're gonna make Sleeping Beauty's cake, then we kind of have to, don't we? Just flip the whole pan over and they are beautiful. Look at that color. I don't think I would have gotten that color if I hadn't oiled the pan, so I'm glad I went ahead and took that step. Okay, I know that this is a liquid measuring cup, and we need a dry one, but we are not fancy. So this says 1.5 cups. That seems like a lot of powdered sugar for the glaze. So yikes a do. Perfect. I meant to do that. Okay, so 1.5 cups of confectioner's or powdered sugar. I think the only difference is that confectioner's has cornstarch in it. It's what I've got, so it's what I'm using. We're also going to throw in, it says 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. You already know how I do. Just throw the, oh, I emptied the bottle. Whoops. And lastly, we need, it says 3 tablespoons of coconut milk beverage. I was going to use almond milk beverage, but instead, as I've already mentioned, I'm going to just use lemon juice. And again, we don't measure around here. We just kind of go until our ancestors whisper in our ears, stop. Meow. And the other half for good measure. And with that, we should have glaze. Very thickums glaze. Look at that. That's beautiful. That actually needs more liquid, I think, so I might do one more lemon. Or a half a one anyway. Because I don't want it that thick, although that's very pretty, but I feel like since my donuts are gluten-free, they might fall apart if I were to dip it into that. So that appears to be a glazier glaze consistency. And once again, I'm just kind of going until my ancestors say to stop. Certainly not the most natural thing. So we're going to just kind of dunk and hope for the best. Now, oh my gosh! That is perfect. That's better than I could have hoped. Okay, that's perfect. So we're gonna let them harden, I guess, dry up a little bit before we commence to attempt the stacking. Alright, Pallies, we've got some baking soda left over from our cooking activity, so I thought this would be fun for a sensory activity. So what we have here is our baking soda. You need a vessel of some sort. I've got this giant Tupperware here, but you could use anything really. 2 little squirt bottles. We have food coloring, and I have the neon specifically because it brings pink rather than red. And some white vinegar. So I'm gonna have my kiddo put the baking soda into the vessel since he really likes pouring lately. I am going to put some vinegar into each of these bottles, and I'm gonna make 1 pink and 1 blue. And that way my son can have some fun making it pink or making it blue. But when he squirts the vinegar into the baking soda, it'll fizz. So it's gonna be turning colors, it's gonna be fizzing, there's gonna be movement, it's just awesome. Like a really fun visual sensory bin activity. So I think he's gonna really like this. And as far as the vinegar, I'm not gonna be measuring anything with the food coloring. I'm just gonna kind of dye it until it looks how I like it to. So use your judgment on this. I think, speaking of using my judgment, I'm going to try to use a funnel. Otherwise, this would make a giant mess. I know myself well enough to take those precautions. So I've got each bottle filled about halfway. I've got my pink and my blue. And this is, of course, an activity that you can use for any theme. Just kind of have to change the colors to suit it. But I thought, especially since in the movie they have that magic fight where they're trying to make the dress pink or blue, this just made sense, you know? So there's our pink vinegar and our blue, and there's probably not going to be any leftover vinegar after this, but if there were, there's nothing wrong with eating this. It's food coloring that we're using, so you could even make yourself an interesting salad after. Not necessarily recommending that, but just throwing it out there as a possibility. Let's pour it in. Whoa! Yeah. Pour, 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 pour. Pour, 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 pour. Wow. We're gonna go shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Yeah, so we have plenty all over, right? Shake, shake, shake. Okay, you wanna get a bottle? Do you want pink or blue? Blue? Squeeze it. Whoa! Papa, that's so cool. You're gonna get pink next? All right, go ahead, squeeze. Oh my goodness. You made it pink. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Look, you could do some over here. Here, why don't you do some over here? Wow. That's amazing. He's laughing so much. He's smiling. This is like when you do a bath bomb, huh? All right, friends, that's gonna wrap up our Sleeping Beauty homeschool theme. And I have to say, this has been one of my favorites so far. And I think based on how all of these activities went, it might be safe to say it's one of my son's favorites so far too. I don't think I've ever experienced him giving this much attention to a movie, probably ever in his life. And that of course made me very happy. But he loved the sensory activity. I actually left it out for about an hour because every time that I came back and told him that, you know, maybe it was time to be finished and I can clean it up, he'd say no, no, and grab the bottles and keep going. So that's huge. And he genuinely had so much fun helping me make those donuts. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm hopeful because every time we cook, he gets a little more excited about it, that maybe one of these days he'll actually taste something that we've made together. Which of these activities was your favorite? I'd love to know if you're planning on doing any of them with your kiddos. And remember, as always, there's a link in the description box to the Pinterest board that pertains to this theme, and I'm constantly adding stuff to it. So even though we're done doing our Sleeping Beauty unit study, if I find any other activities that make sense on this board, I'll go ahead and add them. The boards are constantly evolving, and I make it a point to add things that are suitable for all kiddos of all ages and all abilities. I pretty much have a set plan as far as the themes I'm going to do in the rest of the school year, but if you have a special request, I'd love to hear about it. So make sure you leave me a comment and let me know. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!